Chapter 1. It was a full moon the night I was born. My mother Amanda was the Luna of the Silver Moon Pack. She is a proud and beautiful warrior, a strong mate to my father, the Alpha. My mother had already blessed him with a daughter 10 years prior to this birth, my sister Scarlet. Scarlet had the beauty that my mother possessed, bright red hair, green eyes brighter than the most polished emerald. She was already tall for a 10-year-old and showed a great intelligence in school, as well as on the training field. She was both beautiful and intelligent, which are both traits revered in the werewolf community. Even though my father already had a star child, he was excited for my mother to give birth again. This time, she was pregnant with twins. Twins are a rarity in the werewolf world, simply because werewolves have larger babies. I have heard all the stories about how he fawned over my mother her entire pregnancy, how he rubbed her feet every night and made sure she wanted for nothing. He catered to every craving she had throughout her pregnancy. Little did he know that his excited would soon turn to anger and despair. Having the Luna give birth to twins was a big deal to the pack. Everyone was excited. What made the event even more special is that my mother went into labor on a full moon. I have heard the stories that on that fateful night, the woods were alive with the sounds of our pack howling and praising the moon goddess. It was a hard labor for my mother. She struggled as the midwife urged her to push both my brother and I out. I was told my father paced outside the pack house like a madman in a nut house. Him and my mother were a true mated pair, which meant he felt all of the pain she was going through. Every contraction, every time she pushed. My brother was born first. Different pack members have different stories about his birth. Some claim that he never took a breath and was born dead. Other members swear that he was alive at birth and then died. For me, the fact that he died is all that matters. From that moment on, I was blamed for his death. I was the monster. I was the murderer. I woke up before the sun could even rise. Today was my 18th birthday. In a normal child's life, this would be a day that is celebrated, but not for me. Today would be no different than yesterday or the day before. I rolled off the makeshift mattress I set up in my room and go wash my face in the sink. I catch a glimpse of my face in the mirror, and I see that the bruises on my neck are fading. The cut on my head has already healed. For a moment, I allow myself to have a small pity party. Although I do not believe that I am horrible looking, I am definitely not the beauty that my sister is known to be. I am not as tall as other girls my age. And although I am constantly called fat, the truth is, I am rather gaunt looking. I look at my mousy brown hair, hating every strand of it. I look at my almond-shaped hazel eyes and wish they were green, like my sister's. After washing up, I throw on a t-shirt and some old sweatpants. There is one luxury I allow myself, and that is my morning run. Creeping quietly down the back stairs of the pack house, I cannot wait to be in the woods, to feel the ground beneath my feet, to smell the sweet forest full of trees. Finally, I make it outside and my heart beats faster. I can feel my wolf aching to be free. I first shifted when I was 13, which is a very young age to shift. Most werewolves do not shift until they are 16. It happened after I had endured another alcohol-fueled rage from my father. That time, he had not broken any bones that night, but had ripped enough of my hair out that I was sure that I was going to be bald. That night, I felt my wolf awaken. She knew I was hurting, and I needed her comfort. and healing powers. Shifting was terrifying the first time. You feel every bone snap and adjust. You feel your fingers and toes elongate into claws. Your jaw widens and all your skin tingle as you sprout your fur for the very first time. I never told anyone that I shifted. I learned very young to keep anything that brought me any kind of joy or comfort a secret. After your first couple of shifts, it does not hurt anymore. In fact, it's almost enjoyable. I could feel my wolf itching to be let out the closer I got to the edge of the woods. The Silver Moon Pack owned its territory in eastern Oregon at the base of the Blue Mountains. I love the smell of the mountain air. This morning, it was crispy, with a slight cold wind. Soon enough, there would be snow. As I reached the edge of the forest, I looked around to make sure I was alone, then stripped out of my clothes in order to shift. My wolf was ecstatic to be free and running through the woods. Our keen sense of smell picked up the different scents. The pine trees with their sap, the mushrooms growing on the forest ground, the river that was up ahead. All of the wildlife running free through the trees. In a short time, we had made it to the river. I shifted back into my human form as I slid down the riverbed to dip my toes into the freezing water. This was my favorite spot in the entire world. I lay there, quietly propped up on the riverbed, sinking my toes into the icy water, just listening to the woods around me. I loved hearing the birds wake up and rustle their young ones. I hear a rustle in the bushes on the opposite riverbank and open my eyes to see a beautiful doe. Her soft brown fur resembled the softest of velvet. She was majestic in her beauty, simply standing there alert but unafraid. Suddenly, she started bounding deeper into the woods, and I felt my heart ache that I could not go with her. I would give anything to be free. There have been a few times in my life that I thought about running away. Running meant turning rogue, though, and more often than not, a wolf without a pack was seen as dangerous and killed on the spot. Rogues were thought to not be loyal to anything or anyone. They lived on their own terms, refusing to submit to an alpha. Packs seen this as unnatural, and they felt that it was an unbalance in nature. To werewolves, everything had a station in life, an order. Anything outside of that order was considered dangerous. I knew it was time to go. I knew I needed to get back to the pack house before everyone woke up. They would be expecting breakfast, and I would get beaten severely if they had to wait for it. I hated my station in life, but I knew that I could not change it. I was the monster. I was the one that killed my brother. My wolf was less joyed about the return trip home. She knew what was about to happen. She knew that we had to keep our head down and take the slaps and name-calling. One more day to us. One more day wishing we were anywhere else but here. We both knew that today would be one of the worst days, though. Today was a reminder to my entire pack, but especially to my parents, that I was alive and my brother was not. I entered the pack house through the back door, making sure that I made as little noise as possible. As long as the pack members were asleep, I was safe. I turned on the 2 big coffee makers we had in the kitchen and started to get out the skillets I would need to make up the pack breakfast. Most pack members have their own homes. The members that live here in the pack house are the Alpha, the Luna, the Beta and his mate, a few of our strongest warriors, and a few pack members that are on my father's advisement council. And me, of course. My sister Scarlett lived here until she met her destined mate 8 years ago. Shortly after they completed the mating ceremony, my sister, and the only person who had shown me love, moved into her mate's pack, on along the coast of California. Although I know that Dorian loves my sister more than himself, I still hated him a little bit for taking her away from me. I shake off the memories and hurriedly get to work. Even though only a few pack members reside here, they are mostly male warriors and have very large appetites. I carefully make a variety of eggs, from scrambled with cheese to poached. Ham, bacon, and sausage are also prepared, and then I start on the pancakes. I can hear them coming into the dining room. I am ready for them. I bring the coffee in first. My father, the Alpha Jason, always takes his black. My mother likes cream with hers. I quickly get everyone's beverages served, and then start bringing in the plates of food. Years of serving the members have taught me exactly what they like. I try my hardest to serve them quickly and quietly. The faster I am in and out, the less chance they have of hitting me or ridiculing me.
Daphne.
My father's tone of voice stops me dead in my tracks. Even though he didn't yell my name this time, I start trembling even though I am trying to hide it. Out of all the members of the pack, my father is the most vicious and the one that has inflicted the most pain, both physically and mentally. Yes, Alpha, I reply, looking down. I am not allowed to look directly into the eyes of any member of my pack. That is how much I am hated here.
We will have neighboring packs visiting us tomorrow. This is an important meeting. I want this place sparkling for their arrival. We will be hosting 3 additional packs here. Therefore, you will be preparing dinner for our esteemed guests as well. Ensure that it is delicious, or I will kill you in front of them for your disrespect. Am I clear?
Before I can even reply, the beta is protesting.
Alpha, I do not think this pathetic wretch could cook anything that would satisfy our guests. I highly recommend that we look into having the event catered instead. Having this dumb brat even try to meet Alpha Caleb's standards would just display how pathetic she is.
Beta Noah despises my presence almost as much as my own father does. He is fiercely loyal to my father and to the pack. He made it a mission to always remind me that I am the one who killed the heir to my father's legacy. You may be right, Noah. By goddess, just having her standing there is turning my stomach. I should have smothered her the day she was born. These scathing words come out of my own mother's lips. Never has she ever muttered anything nice to me. Her hatred for me is like a slow poison that is injected into my veins every time she opens her mouth. My father sits, deliberating on whether the event should be catered of, if he should have me do the cooking. I am terrified that he will choose me. I have no idea what kind of food would be up to par for the visiting packs. The only wolves that I have ever met that did not belong to my pack was when Scarlet's mate came. At that time, it was only him and a few other warriors that had been passing through, on their way up to Washington to discuss trades.
Unfortunately, you are right. This event has been years in the making, and everything needs to be perfect. We will have to get it catered.
I am immensely relieved by my father's words. I surely would have failed had he given me the task.
Don't think for a second you're off the hook.
My father started.
You will have this house sparkling before our guests arrive. All the spare bedroom linens need to be changed, and the pack meeting house needs to be prepared as well.
My head was lowered throughout his instructions, so unfortunately, I did not see the coffee cup that was thrown at my head. It clipped right above my eyebrow, and I could feel that it left quite a scratch. I could feel the warm blood threatening to drip into my eye. Yes, Alpha, is all that I mutter as I shuffle out of the dining room into the kitchen. I long ago quit crying over these small cuts or their words. Crying would make them angrier. Crying would ensure that I get beaten. I place the dirty dishes in the sink and grab a hand towel to wipe the blood away from my face. I use the tea kettle as a mirror and notice the gash is not big. This means it will heal quickly. As I wipe away the blood, I wonder why we are now getting visitors. Usually our ambassador travels to the neighboring packs for peace talks or trade negotiations. It's very unusual for our pack to host events. Although we are a strong pack, we are not a large pack and we do not own a large territory. Shaking my head, I know that I need to hurry and finish up cleaning the kitchen. The alpha made it clear that I had a full day of cleaning ahead of me.
End of chapter 1.